All right, hi. It's 3:10 on Friday afternoon. I'm a little late again. I was grading your papers this morning. They're back in Canvas, and I had a phone call or two. So let's make this a quick video, and we can then wrap up the week and get on to the next week's readings. Okay, so a couple of things from my notes here. One is that I thought we had excellent discussion forums again this week. Um, the dialogue that you're having back and forth is really, really good. I think one reason for that is the facilitation by this week's discussion leaders. So, April, Mary, and Day, thank you very much for doing such a good job. And I hope that we'll have more of that dialogue as we go through the course, because it's through the dialogue that we actually get to understand better the material that we're learning. Okay. You'll also note that I made a couple of last posts this morning. I typically do this each Friday. I'll go through the posts that I miss that come in on Thursday evenings, particularly the late ones. And sometimes I have just last comments to make in response to them. So that's just a heads up that that's why they're there, quote, after the forums are closed, and a heads up to maybe look at them as well. Let's see. So the couple of themes this week, right, are that if you that numbers tell a story about an organization, both its financial health, and if you look closely at the numbers and you see variances over time, they can lead you to some good questions to ask about the operations of the organization as well. And so, in combination, your questions about the operations and the numbers and the story that they tell, you can really get a good sense of what's going on in an organization, both in terms of its financial strategy, its operational strategy, and whether those two are actually working together in order to maximize mission, which is what we're all about, right? That fail-safe, always correct answer. But the real issue is how we go about maximizing mission, right? Um, okay, so we learned about that, and then yeah, and then the other thing about is that hopefully your financial decisions um, lead you to being able to create and maintain an approximate liquidity target that then allows you to have money for the financial storm that's going to come, and to be independent, so financially independent, so you can be operationally independent and pursue opportunities or pilot projects when they come along, right? Okay. Um, I think the other thing I wanted to stress about week two, one, yes, you all did very well on the vocabulary assignment this week, so that's good. Knowing and understanding the language that is used in financial statements is really important, because, as this coming week will show, knowing those definitions then helps you understand what these financial reports say. And so, if you don't have to always be going back to your uh, dictionary, it'll make it much easier for you to grasp the ideas and themes of the course. Okay, and then just the one other major theme of this week had to do with the organizational structure of an organization, and how it too needs to be designed to support sound financial decision making. And as I said to a student earlier, um, this new revised edition of Zietlow, chapters 4 and 5, personally, I don't think quite do as well of covering this topic as the current edition doesn't cover the topic as well as the previous edition. So I would recommend that you make sure that you looked at the PowerPoint from week two that said themes of the week, and take a good look and go through there in terms of the roles and responsibilities of the various people in your organization who should be privy to financial information, and also part of the financial decision making process. That's your board and its committees. It is obviously the executive director, obviously your CFO, obviously your auditor, but also your senior management team as well, particularly the program managers who are responsible for keeping their programs within budget, right? And then just the other notion about Sarbanes-Oxley and how some of those rules apply to transparency in the nonprofit world. Okay? And then that, of course, leads into the discussion then about policies and procedures, generally guidelines, policies, guidelines, and procedures, the rules that lay out who does what, when, and how as it relates to the handling of money and making decisions and executing, say, decisions about money. Okay? As I say, I think the week 2 PowerPoint themes of the week probably does a better job of reviewing that material than chapters 4 and 5 in Zitlo. Okay? So make sure you take a look there. Okay, we're at 6 minutes. We've got to move on here. So let's see. Here. Okay, so week 3, just quickly, we will learn about financial statements. There are 3 primary financial statements that are used both in nonprofits and for-profits, but they have different names because in the nonprofit sector we can never talk about profit, right? I'm being facetious. We should talk about profit, but because it's sort of taboo in the sector, we actually have different names for the exact same things that the private sector uses to track profit and wealth. So in the nonprofit sector, we have a statement of financial position. This is what the for-profit would call the balance sheet, and it is a comparison of what you own or what you have, your assets, minus your liabilities, what you owe, and then your net assets. And this financial statement essentially tells you what your net worth is as an organization. Net assets is really the same thing as net worth. Okay? The second financial statement is the statement of activity. The private sector would call this the P&L, the profit and loss report. And essentially this is a comparison of your revenues minus your expenses to get whether or not you had a operating surplus or sometimes called a need on the loss side. Okay, profit and loss versus surplus and need in the nonprofit nomenclature. Okay, and so and then the third financial statement is the statement of cash. And as we've been emphasizing all along, you always have to kind of be mindful of how much cash or cash equivalents you have so that you can have liquidity in your organization. And the statement of cash basically just tracks and explains from one period of time to the next what happened to your money. Where did you actually spend it? Okay? All right. And I guess the other thing to highlight going into the week, actually 2 last things. One is there is a case study, a long PowerPoint case study on the Oceanside nursing home that emphasizes and highlights the importance of not only having a place for everything and everything in its place, meaning having a good chart of accounts and having a good organizational template into which to put your financial data, but also you need somebody who knows accounting rules who can put the information in the right account. Okay, this is not an accounting course, and you don't need to know accounting in order to be successful in it, or frankly, to run a nonprofit organization. But you do need somebody who does know accounting rules properly, who does know accounting rules, and can record your financial transactions according to generally accepted financial accounting standards. Okay? Or practices there. And that case study just highlights how essentially if you're putting garbage in, right, bad data into your system, it'll give you garbage out, bad information. And that doesn't bode well when you try to go to a bank and get a loan and they take a look at your books and say, all of these entries really are done improperly, and so your financial position is not what you thought it was. And that's what that case study is about. Okay? And then just lastly, we'll have phone calls on Tuesday. I look forward to talking with each of you to get a good feel for how the course is going for you, so you can ask any questions about the course and how you're doing generally in the program. Okay? And then that'll be on Tuesday. If you can't make any of those times that I listed, I'm open all day Thursday as well. And you'll see that in the sign-up section in Canvas. And then just lastly, Kathleen and Hannah are the discussion forum leaders this week. So remember to get in there and ask good questions like this week's discussion forum leaders did. And also to post the little summary post at the end of each forum, okay, when it's over. All right. Excuse me. Okay, guess that's it. Have a good weekend, and I'll look forward to talking with you on Tuesday.